want to see people live. I want to see people die to themselves and quit being selfish and narcissistic. And again, like I believe we all have a little bit of narcissism in us, but the more empathy we have in our life, the further away from narcissism we get. And obviously, I spent a lot of time on that in a different episode, and that was even taken out of context. And people don't like being called narcissist, especially narcissist. But I still stand by the statement. I think we're all narcissists until we learn empathy and we exercise empathy. And the more empathetic we become, the further from a narcissist we become. And some of us are able to heal, or able to do the work to become more empathetic. And I now that I'm on this subject of empathy, and who knows where this word's going to go. I don't know if empathy is even in this, but I mean, learning empathy was a journey for me, because right when I surrendered my life, over 10 years ago now, I wasn't empathetic. Like, I didn't feel at least to the level that I do now. But I think that, every time I thought that I was learning empathy, there was levels to it, kind of like there's levels to truth. But one of the levels to empathy that I was learning, it took me being around and involved in other people's lives because I, for so long, was isolated in a different way than I spend my life now. But it took me being in relationship with other people, like, and my involvement in helping raise children, and, being in a different relationship. And, I learned empathy in that time, where in other relationships I hadn't, but I was kind of allowed this room to be in my full narcissistic glory. But when my heart changed, because, God working on me and working on my heart, that started to change. And so I was able to start showing up in relationships differently, but at the same time, realizing that I had so much to learn. And then after leaving that relationship, really getting to see more areas that I get to work on myself. But part of learning the empathy that I needed to learn was having to learn how to be hurt. Because I've never been hurt before without retaliating in some way of like, well, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you way worse. Like, learning to be hurt and not hurt back was a big step in my empathetic journey, or learning empathy journey. I don't know what the proper term for that is, but I think you get my point. Like, I needed to be heartbroken. I needed to feel what loss was like. And those of you who don't know my journey know, or don't know, that before the Tremors, which, by the way, are doing so much better, the Tremors that I've had since January of 24, like that, wow, just my brain just skipped out. That's really embarrassing, especially when you do that live on video. Oh, I know what I was saying. Sorry. Maybe. So the thing that I had dissociative identity disorder before the Tremors started. And with DID, I would disassociate every time I was sad, every time I was angry, every time I was horny, every time I was super happy. Like, I couldn't get too euphoric because I would disassociate. So anytime I would feel or start to feel pain or something that was unsettling, I would disassociate. So I never really experienced it. I never really experienced the side effects or the consequences of the pain that I would cause others.